Good evening, guys, and welcome to tonight's show. This is the DPMF live show straight out of London. And today's date is the 25th of January. I almost say December, but it's January. And tonight's episode is episode 105, 105. And we are the hosts of tonight's show. On my left hand, we have Mr. Lefrey. And on my right side, we have Mike. And our very special guest tonight is Rarity Royale. And we will be talking about dynamic gaming and what they are building on the XRPL platform. So I just want to say welcome to the stage. And I'm going to give over to Mr. Mike to do the markets for us. And then we'll continue the show. So very welcome.
Thank you very much, Raylene, and thank you for that beautiful intro. I'm going to refresh my page because I'm well known for sometimes reading out outdated stats on the crypto market, and I don't want to do that.
You know what, Mike? It's a pretty damn red day today, so maybe we want to hear the outdated ones this time.
Well, maybe I'll do the markets from a couple of months back.
Go for it.
Oh gosh. All right, let's go. All right, the top 10. So we've got Bitcoin sitting at 100 and, look, already, I have refreshed. I just said the wrong thing. Bitcoin sitting at $86,441. We're down 9.33% on the 7-day. Oh gosh, Ethereum, number 2, down 15.9%, sitting at $2,815. Tether, 0.99 as per.
Did you say 15%?
Yeah.
Ethereum?
Yeah, Ethereum's down 15% on the 7-day. Let me refresh. Let me just make sure.
Wow.
Oh, sorry, no, 16%.
Well, that's even worse.
It went to 16 as a refresh. All right. Yeah, back to 15.91%. All right. Yeah, so that's, oh gosh. Oh, there's a 17 here as well. All right, so we've got Tether. Yeah, I've just done Tether. So we've got BNB, number 4 spot, $858, down 9.6%. Oh gosh, it's really taking a hit. XRP, number 5, $1.81, and it's down 11.33%. We've got USDC sitting at 0.99. We've got Solana. Solana was the one that is down 17.13%. Whoa, gosh. And that's sitting at $117. We got Tron. Tron does quite well, actually. You know what? Tron doesn't really I feel like Tron never really gets any credit. But Tron is actually, it's always there, isn't it? Well, it seems to always be there.
That's because they came out with another movie. That's another sequel.
That was actually, I enjoyed that film. I watched it. I enjoyed it.
You know, I didn't really like the last one.
But you know what?
I didn't like the last one. I just didn't like it.
To be honest, I couldn't remember the last one, and I usually, if I'm going to watch a movie has got previous movies, I usually watch them before I watch the new one. But this time, I just watched it, and it was good. It was quite good. You could sort of follow along and catch up as you're watching it.
The other disappointment was the Greenland 2, the continuation of the Greenland movie, the one with Gerard Butler. You know which one I'm talking about? That's where we have that meteor strike and they all go to the bunkers, and this one group went to Greenland. Did you see that movie, Greenland?
You know what? It sounds familiar, but I can't remember if I've seen it. I can't remember. It does sound familiar. What is that a bit like that? Is that a bit like, what was that, like Tron? It's not like Tron, is it?
No. They're totally different. Tron was more cybernetic situation. This was more of cataclysm type situation movie. You know, Earth kind of ending kind of.
We love a good
Well,
We'll
you
have a
know
good
what?
cataclysm.
The first movie was good. The second one, nah. It was, I mean, even for my standards, it was so damn unbelievable. It's like, nah. It's just not good. But I may be wrong. You know, maybe somebody else might like it. Anyway, so we're on Tron.
Did anyone ever have...
Oh, go ahead.
So on Tron, did anyone ever have Tron? I used to have quite a bit of Tron when it first... I think I had it when it was like 1p or 2p a Tron, a TRX. And there's like a consensus thing that where you have to vote, and you get rewards. And at the time, considering, at the time, I used to get about £3 or something in rewards. Like, I think that was like daily. And I thought to myself, actually, this is quite good. But this was years ago, and I did end up selling all my Tron. But they were very good for rewards. Anyway, I digress.
No, it's okay.
So, all right,
You know,
Tron, that number, 8.29, sitting at 29 cents. Go on, Free.
Oh, I was gonna say, because you asked about if anybody ever had Tron, and I only bought like $1 or $2 worth of Tron because Zoj, they did a lot of different blockchain Zojes, their coins. So they were multi blockchain. And so I needed to create a Tron wallet, but so I have like $1 or $2 worth of Tron, and I still have the Zoj, so that was my only excuse for that one. But anyways, go ahead.
Yeah, it was good. I mean, it seems to be doing well, Tron. I mean, considering I bought it years ago when it was at like 1p or 2p, and now it's sitting at 29 cents now. It's very good. It seems to be, it's sort of steady. It's always just there. Alright. So we got Dogecoin sitting at number 9, or Dogecoin. And that is at 11 cents, and that's down 13%. We got, and number 10, Cardano, ADA, 33 cents, down nearly 15%. It's down 14.5%. So yeah, everything's taken a big hit. So
yeah,
we'll see where things go.
Most of them are 10% or more. And I hate to say this, but I hate to be the bearer of bad news. President Trump came out that the U.S. government's more than likely going to shut down on the 31st of January. So that's going to bring the markets down again. So, and this is probably why we're seeing a lot of the red markets right now. It's probably from his posting. So, and if the government does shut down, I think we're going to see more red for a couple more days, maybe even a couple of weeks, depending on if they're able to get back. Hopefully it's not an extended shutdown, like several weeks long, like last time. I think last time was like 6 weeks long, and everything suffered. But I don't know. I just don't know how they're going to play it this time around.
I'm wondering if this is going to like bring back a bounce back, of everything, if after this something's crazy is going to happen. I don't know.
Well,
I think that's what everybody's constantly waiting for.
There's always a bounce back, but I mean, what we've seen probably for the last couple of months, we've seen a dead cat bounce. You know what I'm talking about? So it just goes up, goes up, but it keeps on going down every time. Lower. So
but it's like
lower
the
lows.
whole space keeps adding that. But the space keeps adding that hype to every as soon as it starts bouncing again.
Oh mate, you're kind of cutting out. You're cut out on that one, bud.
So thank you, Mike, okay, cool. So thank you, Mike, for reading the markets.
No.
So I'm just gonna say that before we start the show, that the show is recorded, and please follow the guests and the speakers on tonight. And we don't have our special nuggets that Crypto Palace always bring us, but tonight we're just going to skip right to the show. Rarity Royale, please open your mic and please introduce yourself.
Hey, good day, everybody. My name is James. I been in crypto for since 2022. I actually came by chance. That's a long story. Yeah, and I came through crypto.com, and I'm now on XRPL, just building and trying to build a community with gamified dynamic NFTs.
Rarity, did you say Gene? Is that what you said? Your name Gene?
Jim,
Jim. Like Jim McCoy from Star
Jim.
Trek.
Yeah,
Okay.
Jim. Yeah. So, thank you guys for having me up here. I really appreciate you guys hosting the space.
Oh, we're happy that you were able to join us. We want to actually you really piqued our interest when with your game and the dynamic NFTs to where you change the metadata all the time. So that's we really want to hear about that. But go ahead, please tell us all about yourself. You said you started with crypto.com. Was there any history? What brought you to the blockchain, or what brought you to any blockchain? Were you previously in technology, or was this more of a hobby that you started?
Yeah, it's more of a hobby. I'll kind of give you the story how I hopped onto crypto. Back in, I say when the COVID hit, I had a very young teenage boy, 13. He was very, very good in Fortnite, and he got recruited into an esports organization, 15 Kings, and because of his age, I had to kind of chaperone him to LAN events in London. We're in Ireland anyway, in Dublin. So he was recruited by 15 Kings. That was the esports club, and that club was taken over by a famous Binance influencer called Travelad. And so they went up and they played a match against one of the biggest esports organization in London, I think Tech 3 or so. And he decided to pay them in crypto. So my son came up to me and said, "Dad, look, we're getting paid and I need a crypto wallet." And I looked
How
into
long ago was this?
this was in 2020,
2020.
just during the
Okay.
COVID. Yeah, 2020. Yeah. So I looked into the Binance wallet because that's what they said, and what he was paying in BNB. And so it was so complicated back then. So I just looked up Google crypto wallets and crypto.com came up. So I got into crypto.com. So after a while, I got emails from them talking about NFTs, and I joined in. I bought one or two NFTs, and I hopped onto crypto.com NFTs, and then from there we went into Chronos. I started really heavily buying NFTs on Chronos Network and joined a couple of communities. And then after a while, I thought, this is big. So I dabbled a little bit going further into Solana. I got wrecked in Solana. I did the pump fountain again. I got wrecked. And I just came back to XRP and I was like, okay, let me build, NFTs. My background, I work, as a utility technician in semiconductor industry. My specialty is ultra pure water. But I work with engineers and technicians with all kind of, skills. But I was always gifted in a way of drawing. We had a sideways way of drawing where we just keep repeating one drawing after another. I was into drawing, Voltron, Spider-Man, Superman, starting tracing comics and so I started drawing. But then when I got into XRP sometime last year in June, when the dynamic NFTs came out, I kind of took a liking to it. So I got on the ledger, learned what was, what was possible and what was not possible. And I just started from there, So I started, by looking for what I wanted NFTs to do. And from there I took it. And so now Rarity Royale is kind of like a gamified dynamic NFT platform.
Yes, I've played the game. It's pretty neat. So you have your NFTs are right now currently they're 2D NFTs, but they are dynamic NFTs. Is that correct?
Yeah, they are. I built some 3D NFTs, and I also have them dynamic. But I just kind of make drawings as I go along, and if I get hold of a software, I kind of have to learn it. So I made, I had 2D NFTs I made for a project before, and I converted them to 3D NFTs. And those are solid. I'm looking to build an Unreal Engine game, but I've not just had the chance to come around, to building that with the launch of the XRPs. But these are, and the XRPs, I actually created them just as a flagship NFT for Rarity Royale, just to show, what can actually happen. So, I threw them out into like an RPG game. Um, I used a couple of scripts to update the metadata. And that kind of made me think, because I started off, building, my platform on Lovable, and then I went on to Replit and Figma. And because one software was good for the back end, one wasn't good for the front end. So I had to kind of, um, integrate both together. And then when I started building on the testnet, I kind of hit that I needed Python scripts to kind of really make these nodes activate when I wanted them to do. So right now they are 2D NFTs, and they are in a Battle Royale game, which is kind of like an RPG game like you have on Discord, the Royal Rumble game.
Yes, I noticed that you just recently, what's it like the past day or two, you opened up that arena. Am I correct?
Yes, yeah. So what happened, I had a 2D game, platform game that I'd kind of been building over a couple of months. I had that as a play to whitelist, and because I wanted to, to attract people that would do things, that would play game to the project, not just people that wanted to flip NFTs. And so I started off whitelisting, so you had to play the game. I had a script at the back end that should tell me that you played the game for a couple of minutes, or you hit some milestones in the game, and then it will automatically drop you into a whitelist. I did that, and so from then on, I was still testing. I needed, because when I initially designed the game on testnet, I wanted the whole 800 NFTs to be automatically put into the Battle Royale. But then I realized that, you have to wait for it to mint out first. So I had to chop it down and did it to 100 NFTs, or from 1 to 100 NFTs. So that's where we are now. Basically it's an RPG game, but it's based on chain, as in the metadata and the changes are written on chain, and the logic behind the game is based on RNG and on traits of the game.
Jim, do you so is it just, do you have a team, or is it just yourself that is doing this?
It is basically just me, but what I did, I had to go hard on subscriptions. So I have some subscriptions where, like in the Replit and in Unlovable, I have collaborators over there that help me debug stuff and things like that, or just drop ideas with me. But basically, developing this game, I did it all
Wow. Wow, man, well done.
myself.
Well done. Like, that's impressive. It's very impressive. I like the way you've just, like, so you've not had a real, like, background in anything like that. But
No, like the nearest background I would say was, back in the days I used to play, Minecraft. I used to build Minecraft
yeah.
servers. And even then, like, I used to sell, the skins, on the PvP game. People always used to help me change my avatars, and I'll charge them $1 to $2. But that was a whole different lifestyle away. So I gamed, I played a bit of COD. Before then, I played the Atari, the Nintendo games. So don't want to really date myself or anything like that. But yeah, I come from that
You,
era
you,
that,
you don't have to worry about dating yourself. I am pretty sure I am the oldest one here, so go ahead.
You sound the youngest though. You do, Live Free. I think.
I'm,
nah,
I'm full of
nah.
life and hope.
You
I
got
got
a
a lot
baby.
of,
You got
I
Oh
still
smooth.
have
yeah.
the hopium for the XRPL.
Oh yeah. And for real, like, XRPL is not all about hope. I think what they did is they put all these things out there and we just have to go find it.
Yeah.
I, learning on the Ledger and Portal. Learning Portal was very easy. You just have to think backwards. I don't know if I'm a little bit autistic or something like that, but I, I find a certain way of learning backwards. So like, things like, functions like the transactions. I recently updated the game and I had a create offer and I was like, this create offer function is literally a marketplace. If I think about it this way and that way, I could literally have my own mini marketplace.
Fantastic.
Yeah, so little things like that, XRPLs are very good for learners. I know it will take you maybe 90 minutes, 120 minutes, learning, watching the videos, jumping into the sandbox and all that. But I think it's pretty much easy. And also it's cheap for transaction
Yeah.
wise. Like, the function to modify NFTs doesn't come cheap, when, games are constantly updating metadata, so you have to kind of factor that in when you're building out, so, but yeah, XRPL will 100% be better than building a game on the EVM.
I love the. Sorry, Live Free. Go on. I saw you open your mic. Go on.
Oh, no problem. I was just gonna go back to the how is it that you do the changing in the metadata? Take advantage of the dynamic. Is that something that you manually do it, or is it just automatically done in the game per se? And in your coding, I mean, did you do the coding on that aspect of it? Because something like changing the metadata automatic like that, that's not simple. That's not a simple task.
Yeah, it is. It's not that simple. As I said, for the past 3 months before I had almost a breakdown trying to get it to work. But yeah, it is automatic and it's in the code. A bit of Python helped a lot. But yeah, it is in the code and it's automatic.
Great, Mike. Go ahead, Mike.
I was just going to say. I just find it's just fantastic that you've come along. You've decided you want to create this game. You've created the game. You're up here now talking about the game, and people are actively, like, when you even go on the homepage, it's something that people are playing as well. You can see like 1,247 battles for today. You got 32.5 XRP in prizes, 487 active XRPs. I think it's just well done, Jim. I just think like that's amazing. I just think you just keep going, man.
Thank you very much. As I said, the main thing about, all this is that if you have people to play it is very important. And if it's not something that is, I helped build a game. It was a shooter game, a first person shooter game, but like it was half Web3, Web 2, and it wasn't good enough for a Web 2 game. Like my son wouldn't play the game, like,
Right.
because it was like that's not, I won't play that game, like, and at the same time, people in Web 3 will be like, how long am I going to play this game to earn 0.1 XRP? Like, so it's not gamified, it's not rewarding. Well, so the trick there is really to get something that is a little bit, passive, not really passive as in, you jump into the battle, you train your NFT, you activate it, is all the fee. The fee goes into the pot, and then the battle begins, elimination starts, the top 3 share the pot, a percentage goes to the project recycles
Brilliant.
that again, buy extra NFTs to give extra, but the whole thing about it is like, it's not really about the XRP and the Battle Royale. Is what I have done, I have documented, building this even of all the time I was building on the test net. I have documented that. I have also white labeled it so that anybody could have a white labeled admin panel to what I have.
Oh wow.
So that's what, so that's why because if not, I won't be able to, to really reward the people that hold the NFT or the people that play the game. So that's why I've kind of gone with the nature of, game creation as a service and, dynamic NFT creation as a service, so that projects can come in and use the same system I have, the same platform I have. It's just really copy and paste, and it's a white label admin panel. You can go in and, control your battles, control your game, change how much you want to charge, change how often you want to, how many tickets you want to have available, to modify NFTs and then
Fantastic.
stuff like
Like
that.
we'll come back to the mechanisms in a moment, like and how like the insides work. I just wanted to ask you, Jim, what does your son think about it?
He is a real gamer in heart. He doesn't like anything to do with crypto and NFT.
Okay.
And so I can't really get him to be interested in it. Like my daughter is a different case, and she's into music and playing a guitar. And she recently saw an NFT of a music NFT, and so she's kind of like, let's be interested now in NFT. And I was like, oh, I hook you up with that. But yeah, you need to know about, crypto first.
Oh,
So
you know what? I actually had
that,
a feeling that it was like a joint thing that you and your son was maybe doing. That's what I thought, because
no,
maybe because he was into the gaming, but I didn't realise. So he's not, because I thought he would be like. It's a great thing for him to be
yeah,
a part of, like with his dad, isn't it?
yeah, I have a 16 years old and I have a 10 years old. The 16 years old will look at the game and will say, this is shite and you need to do this. Or like recently when I was still developing, he told me, what happens if only one person is in the battle?
Yeah.
What are you going to do? And I was like, why are you always, giving me problems? Like, but my 10 years old son is always happy.
Yeah, I know what you mean. I know what you mean. Because
Yeah,
you want
yeah,
positivity, innit? A lot of
exactly.
things,
But my 10,
yeah, obviously there's always going to be a downside to projects and downside to things, but positivity at the start is so important because that's what makes someone continue or what makes someone stop. I don't think sometimes people realize how important that is, having the right, obviously I'm not saying about having the right people around you, it's your family. You've got, you've got no choice, Jim. But when it comes to, projects and the people you talk to around you and the ones that are involved, it's very important to have the right people because it can kill ideas, it can kill creation. Positivity is so important. It's the fuel to creativity, isn't it?
Oh yeah, it's
100%.
totally. Yeah, you're around the wrong person, man. They will be an anchor around your neck, and it's like, oh man, they just drag you down.
Yeah, we're not talking about the
They
family,
do.
Jim, because
No, I'm talking, I'm talking the broader family, the broader Web3 family. Like I approached a couple of devs, when I was, a little bit stalked. And because at one point I was like, stalked to like when I was building the 2D platform game, there was a choice of either to token gate it in the game or token gate it or put the game behind the dApp. And then, so I was like, oh, I'm already near launch. Can I just ask you, how would you do this? And they were like, oh no, what are you building? What doing? Wanting to know everything, wanting to see all my codes. And I was like, it was like, oh no, that's not going to work. Or that's going to take 3 months or 2 months. I was like, okay, I just forget about it. But then you talk to other people and they just open. They will tell you, oh, this will work. I'll do this for you. They just throw you the code. Just copy and paste this and put it in there. It's going to work. So the thing about devs, I think everybody wants to be the smartest person in the room, the sharpest knife in the drawer. And but me, I grew up and I live my life all around the military engineers, and I know how to, just, play my position and just get along with everybody pretty much. But positivity, as you say, yeah, is the key. Yeah.
100%, because things don't work without it. and especially like you were just saying, there was people that said, "Oh, this won't work, that won't work," but the way I see things is that there's just solutions. There's problems and there's solutions, and there's always solutions. Sometimes it just takes you a little while longer to solve certain problems, but there's always solutions. And I think that's something where, like, even you just having you on here, it's quite inspiring, really, because you're just out here, you're building. You know, you've had some people say, "Oh, that's not going to work," or but you're doing what you want to do, and you're just going for it. So well done for that. When we were talking before, because we were starting to talk about the insides of the game, like I'm trying to think of the word, but I can't think of it. Like the reward, the mechanisms. So what's the reward? How does the reward mechanism work, Jim?
And
Yeah.
what does one gameplay cost?
Okay, so it's 0.1 XRP to activate your NFT to jump into the battle. Okay, and you can also train your NFT with 0.15 XRP, and what that gives you is extra XP, which increases your chances. Remember I said it's 30% RNG and 70% based on the trades. So if a certain amount, there's the trades start from common, rare, epic, and legendary, and there's also the mythic, but the mythics don't really have any. They're mostly cosmetics for 101. So there's certain traits in the game that have like the auras, and you have maybe like 0.5 of a boost if you're the only one in the lobby with that. Your chances are increased, and so basically you pay 0.1 XRP, and that goes into the pool, and the pool is shared by the top three, the last 3 Ps standing in the game, and 30% of that goes into the project.
Jim, you mentioned just a little, going back to your history, you mentioned a little bit about military life. Is that from your parents, or were you in the military?
Okay, I went to military schools. So I was born in England in the mid-70s. I'm 51 now. So my parents would have been one of the brain drains from Africa that went over to England. And I went back when I was 4. So the best schools at that time were the military schools. So we were in the oil refinery, and the oil refinery is guarded heavily by the military. So the best schools then. So I did 12 years in military school. So I was taught right from the get-go by sergeants, drilled, whipped, jumping jacks, everything apart from, shooting guns we did in the military school. And then after your 4 years of university, you have what you call the national orientation year, and you have to go into the military for 1 year. And that's where my military training is from.
And what country are we talking about? Because you just said Africa.
Yeah, Nigeria.
Okay.
Yeah, Nigeria.
Oh wow, yeah. So you can see that the having a military background is definitely giving you certain disciplines.
Oh, 100%. There's something like for every good reaction, there's a reward, and for every bad action, there's a punishment. So, and the same thing, like, you have in coding or in logic is bullshitting, bullshit out, and excuse the language,
No,
but
I
it's
understand.
basically it's to everything that you do, like, so you have to kind of feel the
I
repercussion.
sometimes do worry about the not to start getting on to this topic, but I do worry about the younger generations, because there doesn't really seem to be a lot of discipline and things like that now. Like I've got a 3-year-old myself, and you do worry as a parent. You think, oh, because there's a lot of this gentle parenting that a lot of people do. Obviously, when I was younger, it was just, I mean, yeah, if you did something bad, you got told off for it, and depending on how bad the thing that you did was, came the consequences. Whether you got like whether you got
They could
beaten
stick
by a
around it,
hand or
yeah,
whether you got beaten by
or
something
the
else.
sleepers. Yeah. Well, you see, the way I look at it now is, what did that do for me? I still, like, so when we're in, say, in high school equivalent, and we're all in the boarding military, like, so we had our own barracks, like, but we still went out, we jumped over the military fence, went into the town. We knew we were going to get whipped by the horsewhip. We knew we were going to be, drilled, jumping jacks, frog, push-ups. We knew that, but we still did it. Like, so we wait, okay, what's a night out? You go out, you chill with the girls from the girls' school, you get drunk, you come back, you're going to get whipped. So there's no to it. Like, so you just balance that out and you still do it. It never stopped us from doing it. And so the way I see it with my children now, I kind of like a drone father. I just look at them from far and, high up and just hover around them. I'm only afraid of, physical hurt to them, anything that could hurt them, especially when they were toddlers.
Yeah,
The only time I raise my voice is if you're walking on the edge and I know you're going to fall. Before I get to you, I'll probably raise my voice. Oh, don't do that. But apart from that, I just let you find out yourself, like, and I feel that is a lost cause. Like, the schools, like I live in Ireland, the schools are Catholic schools, the primary schools, they teach whatever they want to teach. If you don't like it, then there's no homeschool your children, So, it's out of our hands. So the only thing you can do is just love your kids now. Don't try
yeah.
and make them make
I
them.
think it's also one thing as well is the technology. I've always thought it's the more the technology that is at some point. Obviously, I know it's very good, and even how we use it on the XRPL and things like that, and in crypto, it's good and bad. Because at the same time, you've got kids that are constantly on the tablets, on their mobile, on like the phone, the parents' phone, watching YouTube, things like that. I mean, I'm not going to say I don't do that, because sometimes I do. I let my toddler have the YouTube, and she loves flicking through, and she can use a tablet. It's amazing when you watch them use the tablet. It's like they've always known about technology. It's quite scary, really, how quickly they pick it up. But then there's the other things where it's stopping them from communicating with other people. So it's like how I say it is the art of conversation, of things like that.
I'm wondering if, that's just their burden to carry, that's their cross to bear. That's that generation, because, I mean, obviously when we grew up, we were a little bit different also than our parents. So hell, my dad never touched a computer. He touched a typewriter, but he never touched a computer. And so then, but for us, and even then, it was kind of like I was in my probably 20s when I first touched the computer for the first time myself. But and we changed. I was never much of a gamer to begin with, but we grow and we change. The society changes along with technology. So I'm wondering, your kids or our kids, my kids. I mean, hell, they're game freaks in essence, and they love technology. And I am okay. I first got into Twitter maybe about 5 years ago. That was my first time I ever got into Twitter. When I joined, I got into Twitter when I joined crypto about 5 years ago. That's the only thing that brought me on. So yeah, I mean, it's just one of the things we worry about it, but to them, it's completely normal. I mean, it's like they don't know any difference, to what we lived. They may see old pictures and they may, hear our stories of what we talk about, but they, to them, it's like, nah, you're old fashioned, Dad. And it's like, nah, we're not gonna do that. And it's like, yeah, right, whatever. It's like, so.
Even
Yeah.
the gaming, like, because this is what even going back, taking this back to the gaming aspect. because you were saying, Jim, about like your youngster, he wasn't interested in the game because obviously, maybe it's not something that he's used to. But we were used to Mario Brothers, the old Nintendo, Sega Mega Drive, these older games that they haven't got the graphics of today. So it's sad because what happens is they end up dismissing like these these sort of like Pokemon type graphics games and things like that, ones that are really quite cool, like Final Fantasy and all of these other games. And they think, unless it's like Fortnite graphics, I'm not interested. I think that's quite sad.
Yeah, it's quite sad, but I think it's not about the graphics too. I think it's about the ability to communicate with other people in the game. And so Fortnite was very big on that because they had the open mics, the chats. You could speak to people on different parts of the world, and the same thing with Roblox, the same thing. You could have the chat enabled and you chat. Them things were not in the Mario in our own time. The multiplayer was like, oh yeah, you connect 3 or 4 controllers and you're all in the same room. But was that ability to, go on Discord and have a gaming group that you talk to people that are in America, South America together. But for me, that kind of built up my son because, he was used to, people raging, calling him all sorts of names. So when he started playing competitive Gaelic football, when people say things to him or them things, they don't faze him. So there's the good side and then the bad side. But I just think the difference between, the old school gamer and the new school gamer is the communication, in-game communication. That, like, what was it? The Marvel Rebel, the new game. They have like a proximity chat. Same thing as Among Us. Among Us is just like a little game on the phone, basically. But because he had that ability for you to join other people and to communicate while you play the game in chat, it kind of intrigues the younger generation. And especially when after COVID really hit and people were kind of cooped up in the house for too long, that whole gang of people that were communicating online, Zoom, Discord, and into gaming at the same time just took that whole gaming spectrum to another level. So it's not really about the graphics because I see them play some really dodgy games on Roblox, but for the fact that they can play and communicate with people and, in the game is a big thing.
I do have to agree with you on that one. Like I said, I'm not much of a gamer, but my wife loves to play Call of Duty and that zombie one on Call of Duty. And I'm always hearing her. She's like up like 11, 12 o'clock at night and playing with the teams. And it's like every time or every other time, it's a completely different team. And it's like, one time she's talking to some individual, that works for a cruise ship. And another time she's, someone in Mexico, and another time someone in England. And then another time is somebody she doesn't understand the language, but they know how to shoot. So it's like they just follow along. So yeah, that definitely is a good point that you put up, that yes, there is a lot of communication within the game structure. We just don't have that face-to-face, contact though. But yeah, the communication is definitely there for some gamers.
I didn't actually think of that until you said that, Jim, and you brought that up about the communication, because it's actually, it is so important. Are there anything, any features or anything in the pipeline later on that you're going to introduce into your game?
Yes, I'm building the full version of the 2D game, but because I'm gamifying a lot of things that are like, like staking, swap, decks, trying to put all those things that people that are, I'm building the game not for gamers, I'm building the games for DJs, so, yes, there will be close proximity chat, in some of the lobbies, but I don't know how what legal requirements I'll probably need or how safe it's going to be, but I will just put it out there and then I have to monitor it. But right now it's all about, minimizing the server cost and other costs that I have to, I'm in the middle of changing part of the garage into a server so that I can host more games because the cost now with Q nodes and Pianta is getting ridiculous. The more gigabytes goes up and it's just unreal. But I think with hosting your own server, then yeah, you could have, hot buttons that you can just switch off, approximated chat in game, but it is very cool. Like, at least with the chat, it's just sort of like what they did on Pump Fun recently, where you could go in and you ape into a coin, but there's a chat at the side that, people can come in and it's just their wallet will be the username and they can say whatever they want to say. But then with that comes the morality and ethic things that you have to consider. You can let people just say what they want on your game or your platform. Is that what you want? But it is possible, and it, especially with Unity game, proximity chat is a thing, and it's not a biggie to implement.
So how many, you were mentioning about servers and the cost and stuff. How many players right now can you accommodate?
Right now, it's not actually about the players. It's about the time and the transactions that I'm worried about. Player wise, before I would have to upgrade, I'll be looking at about maybe 700 to 100 players playing at the same time for me to think of upgrading. And I know 700 players now on XRPL is a big ask. So I'm not worried about player size. It's just like, things like modifying NFTs. There's a certain, so when you have your NFTs on XRP Cafe, as soon as they go dynamic, you have to kind of host them on your own server or your own Piata server. That kind of builds up. Only when I was before I came into beta, I'd already expired my free allocation, so I had to upgrade to about maybe 6 months, 120. For a year, you're looking at about 400, at the size. And when people keep playing and evolving the game, I want to be looking to upgrade to a bigger server for Piata servers, for just for the media. But for things like quick nodes, servers, you're looking at about just right now 500 US dollars for a year, for 6 months, sorry, and maybe 1,000 for a year. So I'm gauging it by transactions in the game, as in how much modification functions are in the game, and how much times the NFTs have to evolve. But for hosting the game, like a 2D game, Unity game, it doesn't really cost much, about 500. You get a server for that, and you can outsource that server. You don't have to use it. But if I'm going to be putting multiple games on the server, then it's going to be costing me triple. Then I might as well just host my own server, invest in that infrastructure myself and have my own server running at the back of my house that I know it will always be on, except we have the old earthquake in the island.
Have you thought about running your own node? I think won't that help also with the speed? If you have your own XRP node, or no?
Yeah, I thought about that, and but I looked at most of the developers, what they're using. They're probably using one of the nodes that another developer built a long time ago. So having my own, probably further down the line, yes. But for now, as I said, I just use the quick nodes, and that seems to be working out well. I think there's a ladybot. There's not ladybot, lady nodes. There's a developer on XRPL, Click. He runs most of the nodes that, the desk use, and most of all the other dApps use on XRPL. But yeah, it's something further down the line. Definitely to help my own nodes.
Are there rewards for running nodes?
I was just about to mention that currently right now the XRPL there is no payment in running nodes from Ripple. But they were supposed to come up for voting as an amendment to allow some sort of payment or reward, because I mean you're running the node, it's costing you electricity, it's costing you internet connection, and you're doing all this for, in essence, for the benefit of Ripple, a freaking multi-billion-dollar company. So why wouldn't there be some sort of reward structure for people that support the chain? That's just my opinion.
Yeah, I'm quite surprised, really. But yeah, especially if it's something that's needed to make the network stronger in any way. Is it more for the transaction speed than nodes? So what if the more nodes there are, what would it affect?
Well, less downtime, and I would assume it'd also be also transactions. Because if you bog down a node, you have to switch from one node to the other. So technically, I mean, just like Daniel has said when he was doing those big NFTs, they're 100 megabits or bigger, even 500 megabit NFTs. When they started to airdrop those things, they almost shut a node down. So if you don't want the system to bog down, then the more nodes you have, the more shall we say, freedom of movement of the information through those nodes, through the whole blockchain.
I was just sort of thinking, like, how long until there's kind of a node shortage? Because if there's all these people developing and just using existing nodes, then how long until there's a shortage of nodes and that we need more nodes? Or is that not something that would happen? I'm not sure.
No, there are services that that run nodes. Like as I said, like quick nodes. There are services that they do XRPL nodes. They do nodes for other chains and other like the side chains and all that. So it's pay per se or pay as you go service basically. But there are other developers that caught on that were in early and that were either part of some program that decided to make the nodes, and they kind of control
Right.
things like it. You even see now with the trading bots, some of the trading bots have faster speeds now, and so they're all moving to a particular node service now just to compete with each other. Those people that are trading memes on coins on XRPL could tell you better about it, about the ability to get in on the first block of a transaction. Those has to do with the nodes. But if you host your bot on a good node service, then you're good to go, and you have that speed that that will keep you at least a little bit competitive.
You just mentioned about getting on the transaction up on the block first. There was somebody posted something about that they were into the AMM and they were using both XP Market and Magnetic. And so when they put money into the AMM, apparently there was somebody else, like one of these bots, front ran their transaction. And this guy lost over $1,000 because another bot was quicker. I guess it must have been like you said, the more efficient node or more, and where he's able to front run the transaction. I think they're still investigating that because, I mean, hell, people are going to get scared. It's like, especially for the AMM, it's like, well, hell, I don't want to put money in if somehow somebody's going to be able to front run my transactions and then, and jack up the price, very quickly as I'm buying without me knowing. And then you won't know until the actual transaction has completed. That it's like, what the hell? I just paid $10 for an XRP. What the hell happened? You know? So yeah.
Yeah, it's right now. I think the ground is leveling out, like, because most of the decks they are on the same node now. Which, I know there's a few bots coming out, and some you have to pay for or own some kind of amount of token, or to be exposed to the trading bots. So, but the sandwich bots, they've always been there, even in the EVM. That was a big thing. Like, they go in first, buy before you, and then as soon as you buy, they sell, and then you're all over the shop. But, it's all on XRPL is a little bit harder because of the way the AMM are set up. But yeah, if you're trading daily, you need you need all the opportunities you can get to, all the edge you need to, to come up on top of trading. But because it's getting very competitive out there, so people are just saying, oh, my bot is faster than that bot. Well, in essence, it's not really, because they're on the same node.
I'm thinking part of the issue that happened on the AMM is because you can't, in essence, put a limit order per se via the AMM. I mean, you can put limit orders if you want to do transactions, if you want to buy or sell, and so you get, exactly what the fee is, of what you're going to get, or what you're going to buy for what price. But with the AMM, you don't. It does the transactions automatically, in whatever AMM land or wherever it does it. So yeah, that's where they took advantage of the front running through the AMM.
So, a while back ago, I was in contact with Fusion about dynamic NFTs.
Yes, that's us.
Yeah. So, how are you, marketing yourselves? Because it seems that in XRPL, I don't mean to sound, it looks like if we're divided by the Atlantic. There's a few platforms are in the US, a few platforms are in Europe, and they don't really get the customer base in the same place at the same time. So I know you're based in England.
Well, yes. So DPMF is the parent company. It has three main projects: XD1, XD2, XD3. XD1 is the Fusion platform. XD2 is the next component. Is more the financial aspect of DPMF. It's going to have its own blockchain called Hyperchain. It's going to have its own wallet. The Fusion is going to start to morph into a trading platform at the same time. So it's not just going to be an NFT creation platform. It's also going to be a trading platform with analytics. And it's also going to be a more powerful, yield, what we call the yield earning mechanisms. There's one active right now. It's called the Yem Infinity, but it's going to have a Yem Part 1 and Yem Part 2. But those won't be until we get the updated platform for Fusion, which is part of the XD2. And then the third part is what we call XD3. That's the AVA program. That one in itself is going to be we are gaming using NFT, the 3D NFTs, with augmented reality. So that game is going to be available both PC, mobile, iOS and Android applications. And so I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought. I was just explaining how the DPMF ran. What was your question in essence of was it about the 3D dynamic NFTs, or what was your question?
Yeah, the 3D dynamic NFTs. So do you mint them in, not the Pianta way? As in, do you have to mint them individually, or do you mint them into a collection?
Okay, so you can do it both ways. One is you can pre-mint them, and you can sell them in any coin that you want. So the or you can have it's just brand new now, the all currency minting, to where you can list them to be minted, and then the individual investor or the buyer will then physically press the mint button themselves, and so they will mint it. So there's two ways that you can go about it. We have what we call the AVAs. Right now it's the RDX AVA. There's multiple AVAs that's going to come out for the game. So, but right now we have the RDX AVA collection, and that works in that fashion. So Daniel, DPMF or Fusion, whatever you want to call it, it's actually the AVA profile. They created the NFTs, and then they put them up for you to be able to mint them as they go.
Okay, that's very good. So it's kind of like not a pre-mint, a rerun. Okay, so back in EVM you have what you call the retro NFTs, and they kind of half NFTs, half tokens. So what we did back then, you would pre-mint them, and then you put them in a pool to be minted again. If you understand what I mean. So the NFTs are pre-minted, they're already minted, but they're put behind the mint button again.
You mean
So
they were created? So because you create it, there's two steps. One is to create the NFT, and the other one is to mint the NFT. Is that what you're talking about?
No, I'm talking about not the backend, the experience. So the developer mints the NFT, so the NFT is already minted on the blockchain, but then they put them behind another mint button to be minted again.
I don't know.
I think, are you talking about like how it is on like XRP Cafe, for example? How there's a mint button where you can you just mint them into existence. Is that what you meant, Jim?
No, that's not what I meant. That's the traditional way. This way, it's called like the 404s NFTs. So you could mint the NFT and cash it out for a particular token. And basically, the developer mints the NFTs, so they're already on the blockchain minted, but they are now put into a pool where you can mint them, so you can actually go back and return the NFT and change it for the token.
Oh, I see. So in essence, technically, so it's almost like an immediate burn and remint, in essence, because you're returning the pre-minted one. Is that correct?
It's kind of like a reroll. So you're going in, if you don't like the NFT you have, you can go in, put it back in, and remint again.
What chain is this?
And this is on Chronos,
Okay.
and I think it's also it's also on ETH.
I guess it all depends
That's
on the protocols and the amendments that obviously that whether they allowed that kind of stuff or not on the XRPL. So I haven't seen that, and unfortunately Daniel's the one that is the mastermind behind all the coding and all that stuff. So unfortunately he's not with us today. But yeah, and I'm sorry, Mike. It's hard to interrupt you.
No, I was just going to say Crow. Jim's talking about Crow. I'm getting it now because that's crypto.com. That's the crypto.com currency, Kronos, isn't that, Jim?
Yeah, that's
Crow.
it,
Because I remember you have to get you probably know about Crow as well, Live Free.
Well, I mean, I know the token, but I have never bought an NFT using Chronos or CRO at all. So
Yeah, because
I
that's
don't know that aspect. No.
Because have you got the Crypto.com card?
No, man. Like I said, I don't have. I had like maybe again $1 or $2 just to have it because I did have I do have a Crypto.com wallet, but I don't use it.
Okay, yeah.
So yeah, no.
Because it's more of that's the only way I knew what you were talking about just now, Jim, is because obviously the Crypto.com card, because it's quite a big card, isn't it? That, especially in the
Yeah,
UK, I
it
think it's
is. Yeah.
maybe even more used in the UK, perhaps.
I tell you what, when I got into crypto, go into crypto.com, as I said. So I got a card, and back then you would have to stake, I think it was
That's it.
$4,000, to get the blue
Yeah.
card, and 400 for the ruby card. So I did it for myself, for my wife. She still has that card, and she still has all her crow. And this is from
And it went
2020.
up a lot, didn't it?
It went up a lot and it went
Yeah.
down. But all she does is she just does all her shopping, all the diesel, about all the petrol, everything is going there, and she still gets paid crow for that. But meanwhile, I've lost all my crow for my DJing days. But that's the same kind of people, different kind of problems. But yeah. But I do really want to, I said I wanted especially with my 3D NFTs. I really wanted to do, but so it would be nice to talk to Daniel to see what's can be done with those 3D NFTs.
Do you know what, Jim?
Um,
What would be a good idea is keep obviously following us. And there's we do DPMF live episodes that are just about DPMF, and that would be good for you to come and you can ask questions to Dan and the team, and then it can be explained in a much better way.
Next week is going to be a DPMF update Sunday. So if you can come
Perfect.
back with us next week, you can come and ask all your questions, and Daniel is going to be there that Sunday. He has to be there that Sunday, so he will be on board. And on the 3D NFTs right now, we're allowing the FBX and the GLB files for those 3Ds. And if you look at the current RDX Avas, I've posted some off of my main account. If you can look at the RDX Avas, and those are GLB files themselves. And you can see how they can be manipulated and be, rotated, 360 degrees and, vertically and horizontally. And then later on, hopefully real soon, they'll be viewable in augmented reality. They've hit a little snafu right now with iOS, and Apple with the augmented reality. They're doing some final stuff, but those always say anytime you mess with Apple, man, you think it's going to be 2 weeks. It ends up being, 2 months. So you'll be able to see, rotate. As far as I know, you can't do that on Cafe, where you can rotate a 3D NFT manually. It's just off like a video.
no, you can't do
Yeah.
that. No, it has to be MP4.
Yeah. So you'll be able to do that with the Fusion. Like I said, you can check out the RDX Avas that are currently being sold. And just for all the listeners, the RDX Avas are going to go up. Right now they're for 10 XRP, and they're going to go up to 100 XRP tonight, roughly around midnight, USA time. So if you haven't gotten your 3D Ava, which is going to be a necessary thing for the game coming up, this one is on sale for 10 XRP and will be going up tenfold to 100 XRP. So get it now or cry later. But going back to the through your 3Ds, yeah, you can go check them out, and then you can manipulate them and move them around like that. You don't have to buy it to be able to see it, and manipulate it to move it. So it's GLB and FBX files for those 3Ds.
Those are heavy files. Like those are files that you actually put in, Unreal Engine games. So it's basically a gaming character you have as an NFT, and that's super stuff.
Yeah, and actually those RDX Avas actually are already rigged. So those are ready to go for gameplay. It's just because you create a 3D NFT, you still have to put the rigging into it in order to be able to play it like in a metaverse type scenario. These RDX Avas are already rigged, so those are ready to go. So just for people that don't know about rigging, it's in essence the skeleton, shall we say, for the Avas to allow it to move as opposed to just be a pretty statue. The rigging is what gives the ability for that statue to move, jump, run, shoot, or whatever. So you absolutely need the rigging. So it's more information in the metadata and that's put into those NFTs, and that's why those files are bigger because of that the rigging and stuff. So yeah, I don't know what the current file size of the RDX Ava is right now. I don't even want to say it. So I'll let Daniel answer that question next week if you have a question on the file size.
100%, because I ran into a situation where I had the 3D NFT already rigged. Then I had to make the 3D NFT. I had the 3D characters, avatars already rigged for in-game, and then I have to go back to make them into 3D NFTs. So it was a whole heap of work to do with the metadata. But as you said, you're 100% right. 3D NFTs are not 3D avatars, in-game characters. And it's double the work, double the effort. So when you're saying 100 XRP for a character like that, it is worth every, because the time that goes into building the in-game avatar and the time that goes into building the 3D NFTs. And when you have both as one, then it's a lot of work. And fair play to Daniel if he managed to pull that up.
Yeah, I know, because for something like this, if you go in and to investigate these RDX Avas, it took it. I mean, there's a lot of man hours put into these things. And I want to say that, let's say if you come in, if you want to create your own, let's say your own robot, and you want to pay somebody to create it, you want to rig it also at the same time. I mean, you're looking, 1,000 XRP or more for a custom one. So yeah, I mean, these are a little bit expensive. But when you have them in a sequence like the way the, DPMF has created, they're going to be cheap, in that manner. So yeah, absolutely. Lot of time and a lot of information, a lot of coding to create the rigging for these 3D NFTs.
Awesome. So thank you, Mr. Lefrey, for that information. Rarity Royale, I just want to give out a huge shout out to you for joining us, and also to the special audience members for showing up. We do appreciate you guys listening and tuning into us. So we've reached the spot of the section of our show where we normally ask a question to our guests. And our very own host is not here tonight, but he is in the audience. So I'm going to ask Mike to ask you that question, and then obviously you also have to give us a question, but let's hear your answer to his question. Mike, go ahead.
All right. So apologies, Wes. Apologies, because I know this is your segment, but I don't know what's happening with the technicals today, as it's not allowing Wes to come up and ask his question. So I'm gonna try and make it just like it is when Wes is doing it. So I can hear that, guys. I'm ruffling the paper.
Hear the paper and don't screw up the question.
All right, I'm ruffling the paper. Yeah, is that enough? Okay. Wes, give me some interaction, please. I just need to know you're all right.
I think
All
he's
right,
asleep.
I don't know what's happened to Max.
He fell off asleep. He's
All right,
in La La Land.
I don't know what's happened. All right. So the question is from, I think this was from the previous show. Where do you see the XRPL 10 years from now? So that's for you, Jim, the question.
XRP 10 years from now is going to be a whole new generation running it. For XRP, the token or the blockchain, I would say it's all going to be centralized. This is the last year of the cowboys, the wide west, the DeFi centralization. So in 10 years from now, we'll be, XRPL will be the bank that we know, the Lloyds Bank, the permanent TSBs of, the JP Morgans. So 10 years from now, Ripple, XRPL is going to be the banking system as we know it now.
I love it. That's a great answer to that question. So you've now got to give us a question to ask the next speaker that comes onto the show. Which is actually DPMF, isn't it? It's
Well, no, but we jump into the next one after that. So it'll be two shows from today.
All right. So you give us a question, Jim, and then we'll ask that question at the end of the interview of the next show. So I'll give you a few moments to think about the question. Was there?
I'll throw one just off the top of my head.
Yeah, go on, mate. Yeah, if you're ready when you are.
Yeah. Utility or community? Which comes first?
Or community. Which comes? I love it. I'm just writing that down so that we don't have any issues of storing this question, because usually it's written on Wes's pad. Hence the rustling of the paper. You see, I'm rustling that paper again. All right, brilliant. That's great. What was it? I was just sorry, Raiden. Go on. You continue.
No, I just wanted to say it's a very great question to ask the next guest. I love it. Very nice.
Was there anything else, Jim, that you wanted to tell us about your project as we're wrapping up? Anything else that you feel like you didn't maybe cover?
I know I pretty much covered everything. I knew straight away this was kind of like a networking space and more or less not a shield space. So I did pretty much get a feel of the room and I did cover everything.
Fantastic. No, it's been great talking with you about the project. Thanks for coming on. It's been fantastic.
Thank you very much for having me.
Just wanted before we ended, did anybody else in the audience have any questions for Jim? Did anybody have any questions or they wanted to ask? If there's nothing else, then if there's no one that wanted to ask anything, it's over to you, Live Free.
All right. We have, Jim, we have reached what we call the poetry segment of our show, where one of our members, NSCV, he has written some poetic lyrics dedicated to Rarity Royale. Here we go.
Peas of rarity, battling for supremacy, evolving continually, winning convincingly, blazing unendingly. Painting views of continuity, playing with tomorrow's NFT, crafting infrastructures of beauty, creating worlds beyond ways that's imaginary, a proof of innovation's superiority. An evolution on the chain of eternity, a creation of systems that runs infinitely, a beauty of the continuous DNFT, a battle etched on the block of infinity, a flower unwearied by scenes of brevity. Peas of Rarity by NSCV.
All right.
Let's go.
Right,
That was lovely.
right, yeah.
Thank you very much.
he has created that NFT. If somebody's interested, anybody can come in and buy that one in Fusion. This show was sponsored by FusionXIO.com, a premier permissionless NFT platform where you can mint and sell your NFTs in any of the over 64,090 issued coins on the XRPL. Just a side note, within the last week, there has been more than 1,000 coins added to the XRPL. That's like, man, I thought we were slow, but no, man, they added 1,000 coins within the last week. Fusion XIO now has the capabilities to see and manipulate the 3D dynamic NFTs and is now offering permissionless minting of your awesome 3D dynamic NFTs with the all-new all-currency minting on the XRPL. Next on the development plate is viewing your 3D NFTs, which are the GLB and the FBX files in augmented reality. Soon you will have the ability to also get the future Yem Part 1 and 2 rewards. The current Yem Infinity reward has not gone out yet, so check your wallets later. Remember, to be able to unlock the yield earning mechanism, you will need to own at least one XIO, and the amount of Yem Infinity reward depends on the amount of XDX that you own. Currently, there are 284 holders that have at least one XIO and are eligible to receive all the Yems. Thank you for joining us today. And if you have any questions, please reach out to us or to Rarity Royale on X or Telegram. And please follow all the speakers here.
Don't take anything we say as financial advice. Do your own research. With that said, we bid you farewell and hope you join us again next week for another deep dive into the blockchain world. This show is recorded, so if you missed a part of it, you can go back and listen to the show. Please share and have a beautiful day. Ciao, all you beautiful people. Kiss, kiss.